Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you may be. I'm your humble host, Mr. David Knoll, also known as Hawkeye Two Feathers. And I greet you with the love and the honor of the infinite creator. And I continue to pray that each and every day, that each and every one of you will continue to learn how to accept and receive the knowledge, the healing, the wisdom, and the many blessings from the universe. Yeah, I'm back. Is the screen crooked? It says it is, but am I orientated right? Or do I need to rotate 90 degrees? So, at the tail end of my last video, um, I spoke about a couple of things and realized that it was still on my brain and that I should, I'm not doing anything else. So, I might as well do a video, especially for it. And so, what do I call it? What is it? Why is it bugging me? Why is it on my mind? But also, what could possibly Barry, is my orientation right? It says I need to go 90 degrees. Do I look okay or am I sideways? So, but anyway, I've talked with a couple of people about this subject. I have talked amongst myself, turn towards. No, I got the phone plugged in because it's on charge. So, do I need to turn the phone up? Does the phone need to be like that? It says so. I don't know what's right or wrong. Oh, so I can go back to the other way. All right. I know I'm sitting sideways. Okay. So I went back to this. All right. Um, it's giving me an erroneous message about the rotation. Well, I'm here this evening, Miss Chloe. So hugs away. Take a deep breath. So I talked with Barry about this yesterday. I think it was yesterday or the day before, but um, and I've been thinking about what could the I hate to use the word repercussion. What could be the results? Hey, Mary Wins, what could be the results of a cosmic spark that would affect everyone on this planet at some point? And so it's like one of the things I could spend the first 30 minutes of this video discussing is whether or not the event happened. I'm going to be very cryptic and short about it. I watched the Cliff High's, one of his very recent videos that he did by himself, and it's about, noodles being twisted, meaning that your brain was going to be all whacked out by the time you heard this one. And boy, was mine whacked out and still is. So recently, NASA, never a straight answer, has received a message back from the Voyager spacecraft. Now, it was in the news. I remember seeing, they said, ooh, it woke up. They hadn't gotten anything from out there in a long time, and all of a sudden it woke up and they got a message from deep space. And that's all I heard about it after that. So, but I'm very much aware of the fact that NASA received a deep space message from the Voyager spacecraft. And that happened. Okay. Now, what has transpired since then is discussion for this video. All right. How it got here or what, and what's going on, the mechanics, the physics, this is not the discussion for that. Okay. I'm sorry. Can dabble a little, but dabble only and a little. The rest of it is the fact that we got this message and that the people who saw it first, who saw these pictures that, as Cliff tried to describe it, were done in like, no, pixels is not it. Pixels is my brain trying to interpret it. Different geometric shapes, like triangles and squares and trapezoids and different types of, and they were done in such a way. This is my interpretation. And that it sort of looks like looking through a kaleidoscope, I would imagine, but with different angles, so that each person who saw the picture of these two profiles that came in, that each person was affected differently, psychologically, spiritually, but that also these people had their brains literally altered. Their brains, because they checked them out with CT scans and stuff, their brains had been altered. To what extent, that's not privy information. So at the moment, whether that ever comes out, but that these people were affected, the scientists who saw it as it was being downloaded, okay, saw these images and so forth as it was coming in. And Cliff describes the fact that they realized that the message was coming in on the frequency of the Voyager, coming in before they ever turned the computer on to listen to the message, like 20 minutes before, something crazy like that. And it started affecting the quantum chip on the computer, and that it had already started interacting with the chip before they, anyway. So this is quantum tunneling in a different kind of thought. So the thought from space, the spark that is obviously directed at us, okay, wasn't directed at the sun or any place, it was directed at us through this frequency, through the Voyager system, okay, and through the Voyager, but I mean, it sent it, the computer got it before it was sent, kind of thing, but it was sent before the computer got it. Now, in the quantum realm of things, and the space that out to the Oort cloud from here. So in a way, this makes sense. Why, Dave? Well, because the message was sent through the quantum field, but the computer was picking it up via the antenna from Voyager. So there's this lag time, right? So the computer was already like, there's incoming message from the big giant head. And it was like, yeah, but it's a little garbled. So, but then they turn the computer on and the chip gets activated with electricity. And now it goes, oh, incoming message. Yep. Confirmed by the, big giant head. Oh, okay. So, hi, everybody, um, so now what does this mean for us human beings? That apparently, and I think, I can't remember exactly, but I think that through the message, and with the message came this, that this, this is I hate to use the word virus, but it's obviously a program that is piggybacked on this spark. And it's not necessarily piggybacked. I mean, they sent this message to us. Is that Johann John? So it was sent to us. It was sent to the human beings. It was sent back through Voyager to NASA. It was sent back to the people who sent the tech to outer space. So now apparently this ping, this spark that came back down, has already been inserted into the quantum thought of the planet. So every single one of us who exist, we exist within the quantum field, especially on this planet, whether now or later or before, I don't know, has been or will be affected by this spark from the Oort cloud, meaning the edge of space. We already have been, or we will soon to be, as this thing spreads through, like a cold virus. I hate to admit it, but in that a few people get it and then it goes out from there. So, but it's also was brought down into the quantum because of the quantum computer. So it was already in the quantum field before they ever turned the chip on, right? So that means it was already here, but it was sent here. All right. That's one of the things I want to stipulate here. It eventually, because of our consciousness, our conscious field expands beyond the Earth and the other planets. To me, would be obvious that the sun could be affected by this consciousness that came in through the Voyager, pinged the Earth, and we're now, because of how we have been upgraded in the quantum field from out yonder by whatever means, we, because we're here and close proximity to the sun, not that proximity has anything to do with it, but that now the planets within our solar system have been affected because we have been affected. Affected how? How have we been affected? It's been obvious from the reports, from the studies, and we did Before they understood what was up, NASA and them released the fact that they had received this message from outer space, and that is a true statement. What it said and what has happened and everything is after the fact, but this is what's leaking through, if you will. Now, my statement is very, simple about Cliff High. Cliff never puts anything out there unless he's got receipts. I don't believe that Cliff would be talking about this with all the other things he's been talking about recently and videos that he's done and re-release and so forth and podcasts that he's done. I do not believe that Cliff would go off on this half-cocked, if you will. Don't think so. And besides that, there's been some other things like have clicked in my head, like something in the universe has changed. My phone keeps what? Man. The chat does come up, but it only hangs there for about 5 seconds. I'm sure there's a way to change that, but I don't want to mess things up as it is. So, but anyway, here we are with the universe. We've come through the Kali Yuga thing. Our solar system is sticking its head up, and we're getting direct energy and different kinds of radiations and things from the galactic center. Scientists have been talking about that, are the cycle that the Earth and the whole solar system's been through. But this, apparently, I'll say apparently, is on its own. It came down through the telescope. It came down through the satellite and back to Earth and pinged the scientist, pinged the database, pinged the computer, pinged the quantum reality here around the Earth. And now here we are. We've been warned that something was going to come and that everybody would be affected. We were going to get this wave of energy. Now, this is what it was 4, 5, 6 years ago. This wave of energy that was going to come out of the galactic center that was going to affect everybody on the planet Earth. Well, this didn't come from the galactic center. It came from the way outside edge of what would be considered our solar system, meaning the sun, all this, planets around, far away objects, the Oort cloud, the edge out there. Why? Because as the message and everyone has said that it seems like it was sent now, not yesterday or tomorrow, but now, because now was important to having the message sent and received. Now, the message goes out immediately, right? But it was received. So now this message through the quantum has to be absorbed by usins, the collective, by the people, right? And so if it's absorbed, boop, ding, I got it, boop, Duggar got it, we got dinged, right? We got pinged. So now what? Well, it is reported that those scientists who saw these pictures in these prism, that's it, prism, not pixelated, prism type profiles, reflecting light in different ways and things, that looking at these affects every person who looks at them in a different way. But everybody's affected. So now this energy is here. They're scared to admit it, but it's here, meaning NASA and the scientists. And so now that it's like, I have been reading recently that, you know, NASA freaked out by a message from space. And I'm like, what would freak them out? You know, a message from space. Well, a message from space that said this message will change every person on the planet's DNA. Have a nice day. What? Is basically what has just transpired. What? Now, it's close enough to a 20 for me. In fact, it's after a 20, actually. But so contemplate this one with me, if you will. Now what? Simply put, now what? Now, that was a good one. Guava cherry. So now what? So it has hit the quantum field around the earth. Everybody's swimming in it like the fishbowl that we are, you know. So swimming in this fishbowl, because we're breathing in the water and everything, we have to and will at some point absorb this energy. Now, what it does to us individually, big question. Obviously, it was sent to us directly through Voyager now, and it was aimed at us, nobody else. Somebody could say, well, you know, how do you know it was meant for us? Because it came back down through the same satellite frequency. Duh. That's how we know it was meant for us. NASA and the NASA scientists got blasted first. So whatever they have, whatever cosmic disease that was sent out, and I use that loosely in that, you know, it acts like a virus type thing. Which moon, Johan? How you doing? Um, are we all going to catch the flu? Are we all going to get the space flu? And I'm not trying to be glib or whatever about it. No, I mean seriously, is this not necessarily that's going to kill us or make us sick, but obviously it was meant for to be infect, it was meant to be infectious, so that we as human beings it would infect us. So there's had those words transposed, haha. But anyway, so the spark from space, is it a good thing? Should we look at this? There's, as Cliff said, Cliff High, for those of you coming in late, he did a video, I think this last week, which is about, you know, our brain noodles are going to be twisted or something like that. You should listen to it for yourself. But this discussion is after he describes how this thing got from the outer space to us. This is a discussion of what is this going to do to us now that it's already here. And it's like he said, we can't take it back. It's not going to go away. There's no he didn't say this, I am. There's no antivirus for this. It's already in the consciousness. It's already doing its thing. We can't stop it. Can't go backwards. Now, with that said, ain't that some shit? Time for another thought. Now, some would say, well, Dave, here you are smoking out of your pipe. Yep, and I'm fixing a lot of cigarette here in a minute. Smoking out of my pipe, then anyone could guess what's in it. The end is cherry. But so you say, well, in your old age and being a shaman, should you keep smoking weed? And I'm like, well, in my old age and as a shaman in training, yeah. But let me tell you, I've been thinking on this subject without being stoned. I just let it flow. And I realized that I had to be stoned to think about this because the whole energy from the galactic center and we're getting different frequencies and stuff from out of I can comprehend that. I can understand because we have different types of satellites and things that can catch these wavelengths coming in at us, right? And so I know they're coming in. We can see them on these different meters and things. So that's a okey doke. Now, what they do to us, is like, well, none of us are supposed to be, exposed to gamma rays for long. Otherwise, we end up like the Hulk. But to that point. So here is a spark of energy that obviously was a message. And it came in 20 minutes before they turned the computer on. That's how the quantum works. Because it was already directed at us. The computer that it was to be received in already started activating. So that's how this quantum is, right? So it was directed at us, at NASA, at the planet. I know I keep repeating this, but to our entire consciousness. But that it is apparently messing with our DNA. They've already tested some of the folks who saw these profiled pictures, and apparently there was pictures around on the web or something. Apparently, if you know the right, IP address, you can get them. Right now, I just want to listen to see what else is happening to other people and how this whole thing is affecting other people. It's like somebody says, well, there's a great pond down the road we can all go swimming in. Oh, yeah, the water's good and it looks great, nothing dead floating in it. Really? Yeah, okay. So a couple of people go down and go swimming in it. And they're not in the water 5 minutes and they come out and they're screaming and there's something that's very acid on them. And so what's going on? Well, the water looks good. Yeah, well, nobody tested it, right? So everybody's like, well, it must have just been them. So somebody else a week later, because they hadn't heard the news, they all go swimming in there like having a party. And everybody there gets burnt or something. And then they test the water in the pond. And oh my God, there's some kind of clear toxic liquid, that if, on the skin, it will burn. Now I'm making this up, but to the point though, it's clear, nobody knows, it looks good until it gets on you. So here's an energy that comes from outer space. Don't know about it, it's sort of clear. They've noticed that it has changed the brain and brain waves. They've noticed people's emotions, stuff. So, but what does that mean for, and what is the ultimate change to the guinea pigs, unfortunately, who are on the other end of the signal, the ones that got the signal first, the ones that saw the images before the computer was shut down, whatever. My question is, he said that they shut it down early because the chip was overloading. Well, so there was still information coming in from Voyager and they cut it short. My follow-up question is, did they turn it back on after it cooled down to see if they could get the rest of the message? Did these guys get the whole message, or that they got 3/4 of the way through, just saying, computer chip gets hot, there's smoke coming out from inside, and you go, damn it, man, and you shut it off. And so you've recorded everything up to that point, but you had to shut her down. So, but there was still information coming in. Yeah. Well, is the information still coming in? Is it sent like in a radio burst where there's a 3-minute message and it sends it? Boom. Here's 3 minutes. And you might have got a minute and a half of it and the computer starts smoking. So then you only got a portion of it. But does that mean that an hour later you can go turn it back on and get the rest of the message? They haven't said that. So that's one of my questions. And if somebody hears anything about it, please let me know. But if not, you can say, well, Mr. Dave talked about that a little while back. So is this going to be like a flu? Is it going to make us sneeze? Is it going to make some people violent? Might make them violet too, or green, or turquoise, but the video I did before this one was about biodiversity. And so I'm going to piggyback a little bit on the biodiversity thing. And the reason for this is, us humans on this planet, we have different types of blood. There's A, there's B, and there's O. Okay. Now there's AB, there's A positive and negative. All right. So there's variations on each one. And I happen to be A positive. So I can't just have anybody else's blood. All right. And I can't give my blood to just anyone else either, because different blood types could literally kill them or kill me. So does that mean those of us with type, I'm just using myself as the example, those of us with type A blood, A positive, by the way, that because A positive is a frequency in and of itself, otherwise it would be compatible with all the other blood types, and it ain't. So does this information, this spark or whatever that hits the quantum, has already hit the quantum, does it hit people with type A blood positive first? I don't know what else to use, but it hits us first. Everybody with A positive gets a twang, and we don't know what it is. Twang, there it goes again. Twang. What the hell is it? That's the spark from space. Well, you must be A positive. Yeah, as a matter of fact, I am. Clang, So what if it's absolutely backwards? What if everybody else gets twanged and the people with A positive are the last ones to feel any effect? It could work both ways, see? Or A positive somewhere in the middle, and it doesn't have anything to do with being A or B. It just is that it's different, okay? So, so the general comment could be made that every single one of us will react the same. And because of us human beings having different types of blood types, the answer is no. We will not all be affected in the same way because different blood types will exclude that because our blood types don't intermingle all the time. So, but Dave, no. If our blood types are different and different other medicines and things interact with different blood types and our blood, no, hang on. So you can't expect one thing to get the same across all different types of blood levels and positive and negatives. Okay. No, too many differentials, too many different things. So to say that it will treat everyone the exact same, I think is foolishness. All right. That's one thing. So, but what do you mean, Dave? Well, it doesn't mean that all of us will be affected similarly. Okay, but not exactly the same, you know. Say, for example, we're all going to turn blue, but there are some people who are going to turn light blue. Some people might turn turquoise. Some people might be aquamarine. So I know that's silly, but to the point though. So what would be the varying degrees? Well, if you had a certain blood type, you'll you're you'll be more blue or less blue. Okay, just say it. And so it wouldn't affect all of us the same way. To me, it's logical, you know. What does it mean? Not a clue. Okay. I'll say that right off the top. Not a clue what it means. But it's something that obviously the scientists and them folks from NASA who have been affected by this directly versus those of us who are affected indirectly. Now, I say indirectly because Cliff listened to somebody and watched the video about the NASA thing. Then he did a video the last couple of days, and I watched the video. So he interpreted information and put it out there. I watched it, interpreted his information, and now I'm having my conversation with y'all. And, but now, is that the way that is the opening scenes to the movie, we'll say? As you know, Dr. Miller always says, we're in a movie, we project the movie, so this is the prelim. So the way they want us to know about this is it goes out there, a few people see it. Somebody asks Clay to watch it, he sees it. And then all of the people that have watched um, Cliff, I said Clay, didn't I? Who have watched Cliff, um, like me, we're all reacting. So is everybody else doing a video or something? So the consciousness within a couple of days has already spread. Do I know any of the particulars? No. Do I know that the that it has entered the quantum and that there's nothing we can do about it because it's already here? I kind of sort of feel that. Can't tell you what it is. But I've known recently here, there's been something going on, have not been able to put my finger on it, have blamed it on the cosmic energy that's coming in from the galactic center. And oh yeah, it's that galactic center stuff. Oh yeah, galactic center. Well, what's been going on with me? Because I can't speak for anybody else, but I know I've heard stories and have talked with other people who are having similar types of issues like me. What of some of these issues we're having is not, for me, I've been trying to blame it on my medicines. What is it? What if this ain't got shit to do with the medicines I'm taking? Nothing. What if this is the space spark that's affecting my thought pattern, which is goofing up my days sometime, and I don't know which end is up or sideways. And then there are other days or middle of the night I can't sleep. And what the hell's going on here? I can't shut the thought process down. And then there are days I can't jumpstart it with a 24-volt battery. So what's going on here? So I know for me, there's something that seems to be going on in the universe. Is this cause and effect for me? Am I reacting to the space spark? And this is my, whatever is going on? Because I feel it is definitely in my head. Not that I'm inventing it, but it's weird in my head and I can't straighten it out. It's like I've said, it feels at times like I'm tripping. And I don't have never believed in the cosmic flashback theory, although there's been times and I won't question myself, but this is just plumb weird. And having tripped so many times as I've discussed, none of this feels like tripping. But the closest I can come to describing it is trippy. So now, how do you feel? Do you feel that there's been something that has come in? And if it's in the quantum, it should have affected our thought process, our emotions in some way, somehow, affected that part of us spiritually or, and possibly physically, right? But if if it came in through the quantum, it has to at least been able to be felt, you know? God, I have felt this weird energy come in today. Well, okay, that's a felt. And I felt like throwing up all day. That's a felt, you know. So, how does the rest of the population feel at this particular moment? Most of the population don't know about this to this extent. And I don't know all of it, just some of it. But it seems to be what you're describing. I started to feel about, yeah, well, apparently this has come in, it's been a month since the NASA, you know, said they got a signal. I think it's been within this year. So it's hasn't been a long time. Um, but no, the things that I think you were feeling is stuff that I think we've all been feeling. And that's the starting back then, we were coming up out of the Kali Yuga thingy and starting to get energies straight from the galactic center. And that's about the time we started getting that. So we can go back and go, about this time is when this was happening. My eyes are green. Oh, so would the DNA changes change our eye color? But I don't know where I came up with that. Um, or would the spark from space do anything to us on the outside? But now, from what Cliff says, that was reported that the people who saw these profiles, these pictures from space, were humanoid. You have to watch his video, all right? But from the description that he was given, and and that I'm just saying, watch his video, but I'm sort of relating, is that it affected every person differently and deeply. And so this information is in the quantum. So the space between things doesn't matter. So what I'm about to say doesn't make sense. But like the people in Florida were the first to feel it, or the people in Houston and Texas were the first to feel it, because that's where NASA is, right? And then the second people to feel it were in whatever bordering state, So in Florida, Georgia, and Alabama were the next to feel it because they were so close to Florida. Or that in Texas, that it was Tennessee or Arkansas or Louisiana or Oklahoma that felt it first after NASA felt it. But see, in the quantum, distance doesn't matter. So I'm just going to say Houston. Houston, we have a problem. So Houston gets the signal, but on the opposite side of the planet in Korea, they feel it. You know, before I feel it in Georgia, I'm just parallel to Houston. But Korea, I don't know if it's exactly, but it's on the other side of the planet. So you say, well, but in the quantum field, it's there for everybody at the same time. It's not just there for Korea or for Georgia or for Florida. It's if it's in the quantum field, it's an open source. It's there. So here's an open source message sent from somebody in outer space, sent to us directly here on planet Earth. Directly. Not for Venus or Mars or nobody, sent to us. Why? And what is was obviously sent by whom? The creator? Maybe. Um, was it sent to somehow infect mankind with some kind of whirly twirly disease that would kill us all? We'll find out, right? If it's already shown that those NASA folks who saw it, their brains have been physically altered, okay. Did their brains turn to mush, or are they getting smarter? Or is it condensing? What was changed? Is it brain wave patterns that have been changed? Okay. Or has the oblong magada moved to the top of the head or something? Or, just saying. I don't want to talk, but, that there have been physical parts of the brain moved or dropped out or added. Well, the brain waves have changed. Well, that is something physical, but that ain't like brain matter moving around in there or growing or shrinking. So, what do they mean by it's changed? All right. I don't know that fact, but it says physically. I'm assuming that it means physically, like physically, you know, not thinking I'm touching my arm, but physically. Um, so I would like to know, and we're just going to have to watch out for this, but having brought this to y'all's attention and to anybody else who might watch this video, it will be, how will we know? The only way we're really going to know is for us to observe us. We're going to have to keep an eye on each other, not in some kind of weird, sickly manner, but in that, oh, wow, Barry, I've noticed a change in you. You know, um, did you always have that ring in your nose? you know, did you always have an ear at the front of your forehead? Uh, I think I can truly see your third eye winking at me. Uh, anyway, but to that point, we have I we have no choice in the matter, since we can't stop it or take it back or whatever. So the only choice we actually do have is to be observant, right? To see if other scientists talk about this, to find out what other scientists don't make it my what? Um, don't it make my brown eyes blue? Is that what it said? Um, that's funny. Um, but that we watch news articles where it might not come out. You know how it goes. There's an article on the back page of the paper on Friday, but it's a valid article, or something comes out in some scientific journal that only scientists, so there's only 10,000 people in the world that subscribe to this magazine. So only them 10,000 people going to know about it. You know what I mean? So, in the world of things. So, but if we hear of something that's in an obscure place, but the rest of the population don't know about it, well, that's where I think we need to be observant. We need to keep an eye on some of these obscure, obscure to the main public, you know, scientific journal or something like that where most people don't read, you know, could be one of those places. It's an article in the back of the mag. Sorry about that. But so anyway, I wanted to speak on this and kind of sort of get it into the quantum myself and kind of get it off of my brain too, because if I talk about it and put it down on a video, then my brain can, quit worrying about it. Well, you got to talk about this. We already did. Thank you. Now, there might be things to add to this. And I'm sure as time goes on, there will be more information that comes out about this. If Cliff finds anything out about this, I'm sure that he will let the rest of us know, because he let us know this first time. And I will reciprocate by, sending that information out to y'all as well as I get it. But I had to cogitate on this for a couple of days, because I'm like, talk about frying your noodle. So I can understand how it got here. I can understand different energies from around the rest of the galaxy and the universe and stuff. But to get pinged directly through a satellite with direct information, like a clear signal, literally, not with static and shit. There's a sort of, this came in with like clear as a bell. Here it is, without a bunch of static space noise. And it was obviously intended for us, obviously, so that our configuration of computers and stuff would be able to read it, analyze it, download it, make pictures or whatever. So the other end in space knew all this stuff. Okay. It was aware of us. It was aware of our technology. It was aware of what would happen when they sent it to us. They were aware, they, whoever they are, and I got to be a they, whoever they are, knew all of these things about us. Whether they collected it, how did they collect it? Out of the quantum of the solar system? Did they collect it by listening through the Voyager satellite to our stuff back here on Earth? They got their own satellites and they've been listening. They've been watching our TV shows. I mean, they were pissed off when Roseanne got barred from her own show. I mean, they're still mad about that. Um, Still pisses me off. But so apparently they know a lot about us in order to be able to send anything back to us other than a squiggle and an SOS. You know what I mean? So they got to be smart to be able to understand and send the message down, down that carrier wave that went from the Voyager spacecraft, blah, 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 blah. It made it all the way through space, all the way down to us little humans, and then blasted open. So all I got to say is we need to keep our observations, not be freaky, but we need to be paying attention. Because the fact that certain people with certain genetics might be affected before or after, meaning me with A positive blood, is going to get, I'm going to feel it different than somebody with O negative blood. Not that it's a negative thing. No, it's just there's different blood types, different frequencies, different stuff. They're not compatible. Doesn't mean that it's bad. People with, O negative can get along personally with somebody with A positive just fine, but we can't swap blood. Doesn't mean that we can't be friends and coexist, So we have to understand what that's why I did that video before. We have to understand what our coexistence is. We have to establish what our coexistence is. So the spark from space is this to get us acclimated. I've often wondered that, we're supposed to get this, information from out yonder somewhere, that the aliens were going to release it to us, and that the whole planet was going to get it at the same time, and it was going to affect us all. And I'm sitting here wondering, is this it? How were they going to do it? Because it was discussed 5, 6, 7, 10 years ago. If they were going to affect the entire Earth, was some kind of frequency update, was basically what it was. It was explained back then that it was going to come from a galactic burst of energy that was going to affect the whole planet and all of us, and There was no way we were going to be able to escape it. Well, this didn't come from the galactic center. We've had energies that come and have come from the galactic center, but this one didn't. Okay. So there are a lot of suppositions to be made. You could sit here and ponder on this, but I wanted to put these certain things out and, topics of discussion because it's obviously has come in, it's obviously been received. So these are obvious things. What's not obvious is that how is it actually going to affect us? So, first things first, you know, those of us who are paying attention, we have to continue to pay attention. If anything, we might need to sharpen our um, observatory powers, our powers of observation, and to not be skittish and paranoid. But since this has obviously happened, we need to be paranoid enough to not forget it. We need to not let this slip off to the side over here into some kind of obscurity. Nah, we need to keep tabs on this. Just keep tabs without worrying. Of course, now to some folks, I want to do a little bit more digging because if there's some more information out there, I would surely like to read it, because I'm involved in, if I'm part of this earth, which I am, and you are, which you are, I want to know, you know, those with inquisitive minds want to know. So, but anyway, I'm going to quit this because this is Friday night, Saturday night, and um, um, our friend Robert should be doing a live stream about now. So, and I didn't want to overcloud this and make this so long it was just pathetic. But there are some thoughts in this video that hopefully you will just, cogitate. We'll see what happens. But keep your observational skills honed. Keep an eye out on things. Like I said, obscure articles in different places. Well, ain't it 10 o'clock? That's 10 o'clock Eastern. So he should be on actually by now. It's been nice seeing you live. Oh, you too, which I'm trying to change things up. So, but anyway, no, it's always Eastern time. Because I love you too, sweetie. Because I always have to be on at 10 o'clock Eastern. Yeah, it's 9 here. It's 9 on my clock, but it's 10 Eastern. But anyway, um, so I'm gonna leave y'all at it right now. I'm sure that there's gonna be more to come. And who knows, the way I'm wound up today, I might actually even come on later on. But at the moment, this is enough for this subject, and I've been trying to keep my videos under 2 hours. You know what I mean? So, and I want to make sure that they actually get uploaded too. So anyway, I love you all, and I do continue to pray that each and every day, that each and every one of you will continue to learn how to accept and receive the knowledge, the healing, the wisdom, and the many blessings from the universe. We need to keep an eye on each other just because. But, it'd be interesting to see what the outcome of this is. And we will at some point in the future. But at the moment, it's just time to scratch our heads and go, hmm. So I continue to pray that each and every day that each and every one of you will continue to learn how to accept and receive the knowledge, the healing, the wisdom, and the many blessings sent from the universe. And obviously, there was a message sent from the universe through the Voyager space mission recently. And it's for all of us, whether we like it or not. So, y'all be safe. And until next time, I love you and please be careful out there. All right. Until next time, adios. Cheers.